With the fourth week of Lent, each day's Gospel will now be from the Gospel according to John. We can't avoid the feeling of being in a courtroom for a grand trial. The opposition to Jesus mounts. It is inevitable that he will be killed. But we know that the ultimate judgment in the trial is against sin and death. We grow in gratitude and grace as we experience more deeply that this is all for us. I would like to name the theme of our reflection as we have begun this fourth week of Lent as Grace from the Ordinary, adopted from Jesus' encounter with the blind man, recorded in the Gospel of John, chapter 9, verses 1, 6, and 7 following, which goes thus. As Jesus passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. He spat on the ground and made clay with the saliva, and smeared the clay on his eyes, and said to him, "Go, wash in the pool of Siloam." So he went and washed, and came back able to see. Who was this man? Interestingly, he does not have a name. He is only referred to as the man blind from birth. The fact that there is no name indicates that we should see ourselves in this story. The season of Lent reminds us of how Jesus accepted death to give us life. Sometimes we struggle to see the daily miracles of God's grace alive in our lives and those of others. The humble realization that we do not see God at work will invite God's grace to work. How Jesus heals this man is also significant. He uses his own spit to make mud and smear it on this man's eyes. This reveals the fact that Jesus can use something exceptionally ordinary as a source of his divine grace. As we desirously practice our Lenten observance of prayer, fasting, and words of mercy, we are called to translate these to our ordinary ways of living. Too often, we look for God's action in the extraordinary. Perhaps we are tempted to think that God only works his grace through heroic acts of love or sacrifice. But this is not true. It is precisely those ordinary actions of life where God is present. When we do see him at work in the ordinary actions of life, we will be healed of our spiritual blindness, which is the essence of Lenten observance that the Lenten period offers us.